Hey, what's up everybody? Michael Crump back here again, talking about the latest and the greatest in PlayStation Homebrew news and much more. So we're going to kick things off here with an update on the PS5 Mast1c0re progress by Gajina. We can see here that he was able to achieve arbitrary read access. Now, one thing to quickly note here is that this is not for those Lua-based games. This is only for the Star Wars Racer Revenge, which is compatible with the PS5 12.00. Now, this update is from about 2 days ago, but I haven't seen anything crossing since then. Now, the next thing that I want to jump into is that Dr. Yin Yin posted a thing on X here that really had a lot of great information regarding the status of PS Vue. Now, if you don't know what this is, basically PS Vue is a discontinued service that Sony made that now we're able to use that for a userland exploit. Now again, there is some details in here of what it will and will not work on. So for the PS4, Vue After Free is going to be the official name of this, and it's called the userland will work from 5.05 all the way up to 13.02. Meaning the PlayStation Vue version used will now be 1.24. So those of you that might have seen my video showing how to get this set up, at least with the proof of concept that's currently out, will know that now we are going to be using the PlayStation Vue app version 1.24. And again, it does state here that the above is relevant only to the userland exploit. As far as jailbreaking goes on here, kernel exploits are still being worked on and their highest compatible firmware. As you all know, 12.02 is the latest kernel exploit for laps, and then we have 13.00 for net control, which is for poopsploit. Now, we know that we will still have a userland going all the way up to 13.02, but we don't have a kernel exploit to chain it with. And it states down here at the bottom, while the lowest they'll work on is around 9.00 or maybe a bit lower, depending on how things go. So basically 9.00 or lower to 13.00 will be the max for the jailbreak. And what's really great about all of this is that obviously with the PS Vue app, we'll just install it. You won't have to go to any sort of website or launch any sort of games like we've been doing in the past with Lua. Now, while Dr. Yin Yin has posted this, we've also seen that Earth Onion, who has been working on the PS 13.00 jailbreak, has been able to achieve net control access already, and this one is just a matter of time before we get PS4 13.00 up and running again. Now, there is a disclosure that I'm a bit worried about, but we'll have to see how that all works out as the time goes by. Next up, there has been quite a bit of releases over here from EchoStretch. There was a Dump Runner 1.00 beta that came out where basically you could install your PS5 game dumps by just copying a couple of files in each of the folders. With this release, we saw multiple other releases come out. We saw another tool that EchoStretch released, which is called the Dump Installer 1.00 beta, where basically you can just select a folder and it will install it to the home menu. Now, multiple folks started working on this project, and we saw a PS5 dump runner, which was a Python GUI tool, which would go ahead and batch install or update the dump runner for games via the FTP. But then finally, we got a solution that looks like it will be integrated into the final product at some point, because it was by voidwhisper-ps and it was titled ShadowMount. And if you're wondering what ShadowMount is, it is a fully automated background auto mounter payload for jailbroken PlayStation 5 consoles. It streamlines the game mounting process by eliminating the need for manual configuration or external tools. So you wouldn't need to be able to use things like EchoStretch's dump runner or even items flow, because ShadowMount automatically detects, mounts, and installs game dumps from both internal and external storage. Now, the only real requirement here is a jailbroken PS5 and obviously running the very latest version of KStuff, which EchoStretch also released, which is version 1.67. Now, currently, I do believe that this is the absolute best method in order to auto mount all of your games. Even if you add a USB drive, it will automatically detect it and just mount it for you. So this is my current solution that I'm using here today. Next up, we saw quite a bit of progress on a new version of an FTP server. So over here on GitHub, there is a fork of the FTP server by a developer called Drakmor. And what they did was they improved the FTP server that John Tornblom was working on. And so basically what they did here was they improved the FTP server with upload, download, resumption support, and speeds up to 1 gigabyte on all drives. Now, this was definitely confirmed to be much faster than the FTP server, as we saw a couple of different people sharing some of the speeds that they were getting. Especially this one over here that said next level, I've never been able to complete a transfer. Speeds were like 5 to 7 megabytes. Now they're 12 minutes for 100 gigabytes. And so there is obviously a huge increase in speed with this. Now it didn't take very long before we saw John Tornblom in the official PS5 payload dev repo with ftpsrv to just go ahead and take that suggestion into his project. And so now if you are using the official FTP server by John Tornblom, you would be able to use either the PS5 ELF or the PS4 ELF on this. It really is a huge speed improvement so far in my testing, so I'm really glad this has already been merged into the final project. Again, as I stated a bit earlier, I would also expect that the ShadowMount be merged into something like KStuff, where we automatically are just able to plug in a USB drive and get our backups running again. Now, there was another update over here from NetflixNHack, and this project has grown kind of stale since December the 11th, but we can see that as of January the 7th, there was a few more fixes added into this, especially this one, which was a pretty big one, which was fixing the hard-coded IP addresses to Timstar, which is the person who did the presentation just a few weeks ago on the security of things like the PSP and the AMD processor that also can be found in the PlayStation 5. And then just a few things here to wrap up with is that there has been a slew of brand new games that have come out. We've had Ape Academy 2 and then 1 and then P. I'm not sure who all wants these, but great for them to have it, especially if you have kids. There is a Disney Toy Star that has also come out, Jumping Flash, Siphon Filter, which is a great game, Undefeated, Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition, to a couple of more kind of kid type of titles, and then wrapping up here with Blasphemous 2, which is a great game. And then if you do have a VR set, you definitely want to check out. So that's for the PlayStation 5. For the PlayStation 4, we got a couple of new titles in here, such as Lake, and then we've got Cricket 26, Star Wars Bounty Hunter. Absolutely would recommend you give that one a shot. Another VR game in here, Redemption Reapers, which I've heard that is fun. Anyways, a couple of brand new PS4 games for jailbroken users. Anyways, thank you so very much for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Michael, out!